Level 1. Tribe member. Today is a perfectly normal autumn day. The sun is warm. The air smells like something alive. And you know what that means. Yep, that's right. You have absolutely no idea what's about to happen to you. You see, normally there'd be some kind of berry situation here. Maybe a warm breeze. Maybe a mammoth if the universe is feeling generous. But unfortunately for you, you are a Homo sapiens living approximately 100,000 years ago. And the planet is about to do something it has never once done in your lifetime. It's going to get cold. Historically. Existentially. Nobody warned you because nobody knew cold. You've never experienced winter. Nobody you know has experienced winter. Nobody's grandmother warned you about winter because your grandmother also had absolutely no idea. Here's the thing about the world you live in right now. It's genuinely great, lush, warm, full of things that can't outrun you. The trees are enormous. The rivers go everywhere. You and your tribe of roughly 40 people have been doing just fine wandering around and eating things that don't fight back hard enough. Life is good. Write that down. Actually don't. You haven't invented writing. The point is, enjoy it. Your culture runs on a single operating principle. If it doesn't kill you today, great. If it does, well, somebody else eats your berries. You and your people don't see this as brutal. You see it as nature's way. There's no concept of storing food for later. There's no concept of later being worse than now. There's barely a concept of later at all. That's not a coincidence. It's a policy. And it is about to become the most expensive policy in human history. Some might say you and your fellow tribe members have a bit of a short-term planning issue. As a tribe member, your job is simple. Eat today. Find food. Carry things. Throw a rock at something large and hope for the best. You have language. Rough, functional, completely sufficient for everything you've ever needed it for. You have hierarchy. Someone is in charge. It's the one who survived the longest. That's the whole system. You have a designated guy in charge of the fire. His job is one job. He does it well. But you don't have coats. Not one. Not a single coat in the entire tribe. That's not an oversight. It's just never come up. It's been warm forever. Why would you need a coat? As tribe members, you are tasked with surviving the day. Not the week, not the season. The day. You don't lose sleep over what comes next. Neither does anyone else in your group. There's a hierarchy, and everyone knows their place. There are rituals, and everyone knows the words. There's a fire at night, and someone always keeps it going. This is the whole civilization. It works. It has worked for as long as anyone can remember. It's going to stop working in about 3 weeks. Nobody knows that. Nobody can know that. That's the part that's going to make this particularly bad. The mammoth populations are healthy. The rivers are full. The fruit is in season. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is not going to be fine. The tribe is thriving, and you're only just getting started. Level 2, Scout. Congratulations. After all those years of being the one who gets carried, you've been promoted. You're no longer the small one who moves the lighter baskets. You're a scout under Elder Hrock, and the season is doing something that nobody in living memory has a word for yet. Here's the context. After the warmest summer anyone can remember, the tribe's best hunter noticed the animals moving south. Not the casual, seasonal kind of moving, the panicked kind. The kind where they're not stopping. And Hrock, a man who has outlasted everyone around him through nothing but sheer unreasonable stubbornness, has noticed. He's declared that scouts need to go figure out what's happening north of the ridge. He's technically looking for better hunting grounds. But strictly between you and me, Hrock has been sleeping directly next to the fire every night for a week. He wakes up sweating. He won't say why. That's above your pay grade. For now, you've got one thing to worry about. You've been promoted from child who carries things to scout. Walk north, find out, come back. It is time for you to walk directly into whatever is coming. Congratulations again. You head north with 2 others. The valley you're targeting had a river full of fish 3 weeks ago. You walk for half a day. The ground gets harder as you go. Not normal hard, wrong hard. You arrive at the valley. The river is doing something the river has never done before. It is completely solid. You are not surprised, because you literally have no reference point for what surprise looks like in this context. You don't have the word frozen. You don't have the concept. You have a stick. You hit the river with it. The river does not respond. The stick bounces back. The 3 of you stand there, looking at the solid river, for a long time, not moving. You touch it with your hand. It's cold, in a way cold has never been before. It goes right through you. Someone licks it. That person immediately regrets it and cannot explain why. Their tongue sticks briefly. They pull back hard. Their technology, which is sticks, gets fully deployed against the problem. The river remains completely unmoved. Their understanding of thermodynamics, which is 0, provides no useful answers. Their understanding of physics, also 0. The three of you hit it more. It makes a sound it shouldn't make. You hit it harder. The sound gets more alarming. One of you kneels and puts your ear against it. You can hear something moving underneath. The river is still there, just trapped. You stand up. You look at each other. You have no words for this, because there are no words for this yet. You spend another hour looking at the valley. The fish are gone. The birds are gone. The tracks in the mud all point south. The trees at the north edge of the valley have something white on them. You touch it. It's cold, and it disappears in your hand. You have now seen snow. You don't know that's what it's called. You know it feels wrong. You walk home. The whole way back, nobody says anything. There's nothing to say. You report your findings to Harok through the most alarmed gesturing anyone in the tribe has ever witnessed. You mime the hard ground. You mime the solid river. You mime hitting it with a stick. He watches the whole thing. His face does something it has never done in 40 years of surviving things. It goes completely quiet. He doesn't ask questions. He already knows. That's why he's been sleeping next to the fire. He turns to the tribe. He says one word. The word means south. It's a short word. It's going to save everyone's life. Nobody argues. Nobody pushes back. Harok is still alive. That's the only credential anyone has left. Another ridge. Another thing nobody has words for yet. And winter hasn't even started. Level 3. Refugee. All right, here's the situation. Remember how things were going fine a minute ago? Yeah. The tribe is now in serious trouble. You see, recently the camp was hit by something the tribal language doesn't have a word for. It's called a blizzard. It is a weather event specifically engineered to destroy every system your people have built over 30 years. The white stuff from the north came in the night. It came fast and it came hard, and it did not stop. By morning, the food stores were buried. By midday, they were gone. By nightfall, 3 of the youngest members had stopped shivering. Stopping shivering sounds peaceful. It isn't. The future of the group is, to put it generously, uncertain. To put it accurately, the group is in a fight it doesn't understand against an enemy it can't see. To help get things back on track, Harok and the remaining adults have decided to implement what historians will one day call a migration. You currently call it the only option. Nobody has a better one. You looked. You asked. Nobody said anything. The strongest members carry the most. Everyone walks south. In temperatures that are actively and personally trying to end your DNA, this is the plan. Because of how stubbornly human genetics refuse to quit, 40 freezing and terrified primates can cover more ground than you'd expect when the alternative is obvious. The next step in your early human career. Refugee. You carry everything you own on your back. You walk toward a coast nobody has ever seen. The tribal briefing is short. South. That's it. That's the full content of the plan. For now, south is your home. The land is miserable by any reasonable standard, but it is marginally less fatal than what you left. That's the only standard that matters right now. You walk at dawn. The cold bites through everything. You have no coats. You have furs, which are better than nothing. Barely. The children are being carried. The old ones are moving slower than anyone wants to say out loud. Everything you knew about where the food is, where the water runs, where the ground stays firm, none of it applies anymore. The trees are wrong. The light is wrong. The air smells like something that isn't coming back for a long time. But Harok says walk. And Harok is still alive. That's all the navigation you have. On the first day, you cover more ground than you've ever covered. Fear is an excellent motivator. On the second day, someone falls. They get up, nobody talks about it. On the third day, the food runs critically short. Harok rations it without explanation. Rationing is a new concept. Nobody likes it. You drop through the frost line. The air feels slightly less like being punched directly in the chest. Slightly. Step 1. Moving. Check. On the second night, the firekeeper almost loses the flame. The wind comes sideways and takes half the spark. He does not lose the flame. He cups it with both hands and breathes into it for 4 minutes straight and does not stop until it catches. The group treats this like a religious event, because at this point, it basically is. You make camp in a valley with dead grass instead of ice. You can see actual ground. Brown and dead, but actual ground. 3 people start crying when they see it. Nobody explains why. Nobody needs to. You build a rough shelter from branches and press together bodies and the warmth of 40 people who are all still, somehow, alive. The firekeeper sets the flame in the center of the shelter. Everyone sits around it. Nobody speaks for a long time. You eat what there is. It is not enough. It is something. You have a quiet night. The wind stays outside. The flame stays inside. In the morning, Harak stands up. He looks south. He says the word again. One word. South. Everyone stands up. You pick up what you're carrying. You walk. For now, at least. Let's see if this actually holds. Level 4. Firekeeper. You are one of 3. That's how many people in the tribe know how to start a fire from absolutely nothing. The firekeeping tradition, once the most casually maintained skill in the group, something any adult could do, is now a room with 3 people in it. You are one of the most practically essential humans alive in this frozen valley, which is the only reason you're still here at all. Competence is the only qualification that has ever mattered, and even then, barely. As Firekeeper, you are one of the most powerful people in the tribe. Not because you're the strongest, because if you stop working, everyone dies. That's power. You have genuine social authority over critical daily decisions. Where to camp, when to stop, who eats first when food runs short. Your job, technically, is to keep everyone warm. In practice, it's to maintain the appearance that someone knows what they're doing. Fun. As Firekeeper, you decide which nights the tribe stops, which spots are viable for flame, how close together everyone sleeps. You've developed an instinct for wind direction that borders on supernatural. You can feel a bad night coming before the temperature drops. You choose the spot. You build a fire ring. You place the people. This is all you do, and it is everything. One problem currently at the top of your list. 3 children have stopped shivering. That sounds like a good thing. It is absolutely not a good thing. You move them closer to the center. You give them your spot. You sit on the outside ring yourself. You don't explain why. You just do it. You have a soft spot for the small ones. Can't blame you. There's a lot of fragility out there in the dark. Harak is growing increasingly erratic. He makes decisions quickly and then changes them. The tribe can feel it. He's louder than you and could override your decisions whenever he wants. All your work depends entirely on what his mood is that morning. You didn't ask for any of this. Nobody did. Every night you lay the fire the same way. Same structure. Same order. Not because you're superstitious. Because it works. And you cannot afford for it to not work. You also hold a narrow but absolute disciplinary power. You decide who sits closest to the fire. This sounds minor. It isn't. On a cold night, 6 inches closer to the flame is the difference between sleeping and not sleeping, between warm and dangerous. Every so often, someone panics and throws too much wood on at once, and everything nearly goes out. You've seen it happen. Twice. The first time, it was a young hunter who was trying to help. You moved him to the outer ring for a night. He didn't do it again. The second time, it was an older woman who couldn't sleep and thought more fire meant more safety. You moved her too. She understood by morning. Those individuals must be corrected swiftly. I mean, you can't just have anyone throwing things into the flame based on vibes alone, right? You're supposed to be the most organized group in this frozen valley, after all. Much of your day is explaining to fully grown adults that they are doing fire wrong. The ones who don't listen sit outside. The ones who sit outside learn quickly. By morning, they understand. Being Firekeeper is a lot of watching people almost ruin everything and quietly fixing it before anyone notices. And mostly it's a morale job. You tend the flame in daylight, even when it isn't cold, because the tribe needs to see it burning. They need to know it's there. A fire in daylight is wasteful. You do it anyway. Some things are worth the wood. You work to convince everyone around the flame that the situation is survivable, that the cold has a limit, that the wood will last. You're not always sure any of that is true, but you say it. That's part of the job. What you don't say out loud, what nobody says out loud, is that you're not completely certain it's survivable. You've kept this fire alive through 13 consecutive terrible nights, through rain and through a wind that seemed personally offended by the concept of combustion. Through nothing but stubbornness and the knowledge that if you fail, there is no backup plan. No secondary firekeeper who knows everything you know. No contingency. Just dark. Cold dark. And 40 people who trusted you. That's the part nobody's talking about. You sit next to the flame after everyone is asleep. Not for warmth. To watch it. To make sure. Every morning it's still there. Every morning is a small miracle nobody names out loud. Level 5. Elder. As Elder, a position that has only ever been held by whoever didn't die first, you are the most experienced human in this group, which means you are the most experienced human in this particular frozen patch of ground, across every family, bloodline, and campfire within a day's walk. You've held this position for what feels like forever. Nobody's come close to taking it. Not through wisdom, not through strength, not through anything. The Elder is the tribe. At this point, they're functionally the same thing. You weren't chosen for this role. You just outlasted everyone else. The person before you understood that the group would need someone who could hold it together through accumulated experience alone. That person was right. That person is also dead. You are what's left. You aren't the emotional type. On the inside, you are genuinely pleased to still be breathing. Don't let anyone see that. Elders aren't big on visible feelings. You have to lead by example. Calm is the product you sell. As elder, you are the final word on where this group goes, when it stops, who eats what, and how much. You are leading your people towards something warmer, something livable, some version of this world that doesn't actively want everyone dead. It's a massive challenge that has so far had limited success. But you stay optimistic. You have no other option. You also tell your people you know where the warm lands are. To be honest, that's less of a geographic fact and more of a motivational strategy. What you really want is to survive until the temperature changes. You don't know when that will be. Nobody does. Nobody has ever had to know before. This puts you in a difficult position. You have been promising warmth. You cannot find it. Your people are suspicious, but they know better than to say so directly. Because you are the only person alive who has seen more than 40 winters. The total number of humans in this valley who have seen more than 40 winters is 1. That is you. So nobody argues, because the only alternative to you is nothing, and nothing is worse. Your responsibilities are total. Direction, food rationing, fire placement, who carries the children, who carries the tools, who walks at the front when you need confidence, who walks at the back when something large has been following the group for 2 days. Nobody wants to say that part out loud. You noticed the tracks on the first day. You said nothing. Knowing doesn't help. Walking faster does. All of it flows through you. The firekeeper advises. You decide. Your word is the last word. In every freezing, silent morning, when nobody wants to stand up. In every evening, when the food is not enough, and people look at each other, and then look at you. No one pushes back. Not because they agree, because they've seen what happens to groups without someone like you. They stop moving. They don't start again. You've seen it. Another tribe, 3 days east, years ago. Nobody pushing in one direction. 30 people who couldn't agree on south. You don't talk about what happened to them. You just walk south. And yet, despite keeping this group alive through something that doesn't have a name in any language yet, you can't stop thinking about the 3 you didn't save. A girl, 2 boys, small. They were struggling on the 3rd night, and you made the call to keep moving. You made the right call. The group is alive because of that call. You made it without hesitating. You don't sleep very well. You begin to think that unless you find something warmer before the next storm, you will have held this group together long enough to watch it fall apart anyway. The firekeeper looks at you every evening, not asking anything, just checking. You nod. He nods back. That's the whole conversation. That's leadership. 2 people nodding in a frozen valley and pretending they know what comes next. Deep down, everyone around that fire is thinking the same thing. Nobody says it. That's your job, too. Keeping the thing that would break them inside the room where it can't reach them. You sit at the edge of camp some nights, after everyone is asleep, just looking at the dark. You have a feeling winter has a shape. You just can't find it yet. Level 6, the first one. In all of human memory, there has only ever been one first winter. And the person who first understood what it was wasn't an elder or a hunter or even the firekeeper. It was someone quieter than that. Someone who sat at the edge of camp while everyone else was panicking and just watched. The tribes that survived call her Ma. In the way early humans name things. Simply, one sound, no second word, no title. Ma watched the cold arrive, and instead of running or freezing or throwing things at the sky, she did something no one around her thought to do. She started counting. Days since the warmth left. Days the river had been solid. Days until, she calculated, it would have to reverse. She had no calendar, no numbers the way we mean numbers. She had sticks. She had a pattern. She had patience that looked indistinguishable from insanity until it turned out to be right. Every morning she added a stick to the line. Every morning she looked at the sky, the angle of the light, the behavior of the wind. Nobody asked her what she was doing. She was the quiet one, the one who sat at the edge. You learned to leave the quiet ones alone, but she was building something, slowly, without a name for what she was building. What's not disputed is this. Ma was followed not because she was the strongest. Her rock would surpass her there, and everyone knew it, but because she understood something that strength alone cannot manufacture. Her people didn't just obey her. They believed she knew something they didn't. And she did. She gave the tribe an idea beyond day-to-day survival. A sense that winter wasn't the death of the world. It was part of it. A season, something with a shape, something with an end worth planning for. The elders that came before had kept people alive through winter. Ma was the first one who explained it. Upon understanding what winter was, she did something no human had ever done before. She told everyone else. She sat them down around the fire. She pointed at her sticks. She pointed at the sky. She pointed at the sticks again. She communicated, through gesture and sound and sheer exhausting repetition, that this was going to happen again. That they needed food stored. That they needed heavier skins. That the cold was not punishment. It was a schedule. Next year, she told them, you will not be surprised. Next year, you will be ready. She was right about all of it. Perhaps calling it wisdom is nostalgia for a moment that probably looked, from the outside, like a woman aggressively pointing at sticks, while 40 frostbitten people stared at her with the most confused expressions any human faces have ever made. But nevertheless, Ma had the trust of her people. They listened without fully understanding, and that was enough. Being the first to understand is its own kind of birthright, and she was not one to stop before she'd finished. Then she died, like everyone dies, and her sticks were left behind. Not on purpose, not through carelessness, through the simple fact that survival was too busy consuming every available moment, that keeping the knowledge felt like a luxury nobody could afford. Her counting system was forgotten within 2 generations, her heirs scattered across a continent, with no record of what she'd figured out. No copy of the pattern, no second set of sticks kept somewhere safe. No one who understood what the sticks meant wrote it down. Nobody wrote anything down. Writing was still 97,000 years away. The sticks were just sticks. And everything that followed, every winter that caught the next group by surprise, every tribe that didn't make it, every fire that went out for the last time, every spring that arrived too late. All of it traces back to one morning. The morning the sticks got left behind. Ma's idea is inside every human being alive today. A reminder, we say, of what the species learned the hardest possible way. What we don't say is that it's also a reminder of everything that was discovered once, completely lost, and had to be rediscovered from scratch, over and over, by people who had no idea someone had already done it. By people sitting at the edge of camp with a stick, watching the ice, thinking they were the first ones to ever wonder when it would end. And that's the early human career ladder. Cold, hungry, and apparently just one lost set of sticks away from forgetting everything at any given moment.